first I want to start with a metaphor that everyone in this room can relate to. Here you see an exhausted but determined group of marathon runners. Compare this to the journey of an entrepreneur. Both experiences are a slog. Both are grueling. Both have peaks and valleys. Both likely have periods of despair, but also triumph. Marathons are certainly not a walk in the park. Entrepreneurship is certainly not a walk in the park. This symbolism is something that we took to heart in the early days of running our accelerator for SMEs, and this learning led us to make significant strategic shifts that I'll talk about today. But first, I'm going to just say a word about our organization, Stanford SEED. We are 10 years old. We're based at Stanford University. We run the SEED Transformation Program, which is an 11-month accelerator for SGBs across Africa and South Asia that combines Stanford faculty teaching, workshops, peer support, all leading to the creation of a growth plan by the end of the program. By partnering with entrepreneurs in our program, we aim to help them scale, and in turn they create jobs, product and service innovations, and prosperity, and add prosperity to the regions where we work. Today we have 1,200 entrepreneur graduates. So in 2017, which was about 4 years after launching our accelerator program, we surfaced a couple insights. First, as noted earlier, the entrepreneur's journey can be grueling and long and full of pitfalls. And second, market conditions and challenges and economic shocks can interrupt a growth plan at a moment's notice. Therefore, the impact that we seek at SEED can take time, more time than originally anticipated. So the question to us was, how can we stick it out with these entrepreneurs? Can we try to connect and engage with our alumni for more than just a few miles of the entire marathon? So we gave it a shot, and today we invest heavily in fostering our alumni community, which you'll see in green on the right-hand side of the screen. And now I'll talk a minute about how we approach this. So luckily, we find ourselves based at Stanford University, a school with over 200,000 alumni. There are many people on campus who know how to set up and maintain alumni networks, so we talked to them and borrowed their tools and created a framework for ourselves. Note, this was a step-by-step process. It certainly doesn't happen overnight. But first, in 2017, we were fortunate to have a concentration of alumni in a few specific cities, and we first elected leaders of country-based chapters. Today, we have 9 chapters. We then surveyed our alumni, and the top value that they hoped to gain from this alumni community was access to a network in the hope that they could gain support from one another. So we curated local and regional networking events. And then third, over time, we developed valued alumni support services, like pro bono consulting, for example, where our alumni can engage with volunteer consultants on specific challenges they're facing in their businesses. Fourth, a lesson from Stanford Alumni Relations was that alumni will be drawn back by lifelong learning opportunities and educational resources that remind them of the positive experiences they had in the program. So we offer online and in-person, one-off learning sessions from time to time. The fifth building block, which bluntly failed for us, was the typical alumni relations practice of setting up an online community or platform for alumni to engage and interact. We sank a lot of time and effort into this, but it turned out that the average busy entrepreneur wasn't willing to spend meaningful time to come to the platform, interact, and make it a vibrant community, at least for us. So we ended up killing it. So it's been a journey of trial and error for us, but there have been some significant payoffs that you can see on the screen. First, the stickiness of this network has allowed us to get impact data from 80% of our alumni firms, meaning 80%, and this dates back all the way to 2013, submit an annual impact survey to us each year. And that allows us, of course, to produce more robust impact data, which we leverage for fundraising. And I just want to note, before we launched this alumni community, our response rate was about 50%. So you can see how it increased after launch. Second, which was a huge time and budget saver for us, 26% of qualified applicants to our flagship program for SGBs now come from alumni referrals. This is a major shift for us. It obviously translates into huge marketing cost savings, and our data shows that our alumni refer much more quality applicants than other sources. Today, 40% of our alumni entrepreneurs report doing business with one another. This means they're helping each other enter new markets, launch new products, and this type of synergy that we see leads to firm growth in our mind, which supports our overall impact. Another huge payoff, our alumni structure over time is becoming more autonomous, meaning the alumni have set up their own independent initiatives to support themselves. An example that you see on the screen is our Ghana chapter signing an MOU with the Ghana Stock Exchange, and that's paving the way for our seed companies to get listed and also to gain support from a new group of investors. So this is a lot to try to squeeze into a few minutes, but this is a graphic that tries to convey our model. One critical upshot of building an alumni support model, which I touched on briefly, is the incredible amount of support and benefit that we gain back at Stanford SEED. So we benefit from enormous amounts of giving back from our alumni. They volunteer as mentors, they help out in the classroom, they share lessons with current cohort of participants, and they also serve as formal mentors in our program. We have an earlier stage program called Seed Spark, and to date, 67 of our alumni have engaged as formal mentors in that program. So reflecting on this 8-year journey building our alumni network, we have a few tips to offer those who are considering investing in ongoing support. First, as we did, be sure to diagnose the appetite. Are there signs of stickiness among your community? Are they already trying to give back and offering to give back and stay connected? Have you surveyed them? How dispersed are they geographically? Second, start small. Test the waters. Maybe start with an in-person event, judge the traction from there. Or try some online events and draw them in with appealing speakers to build connections. This here is an example on the screen. We leveraged an HR expert who conducted a successful learning event at no cost for us. It was a great way to engage alumni, not only during the session, but we had breakouts online as well. And as mentioned earlier, as much as possible, we try to build a self-sustaining network where more and more chapters can be positioned to lead themselves, like an alumni university chapter of an alumni group. So it's key to create incentives to get leaders to step up. So I'll wrap up, but before I do, if you're interested in this topic, take a minute and look at an article that we just published on long-term support for ESOs. We interviewed peers such as the Unreasonable Group, African Management Institute, and others. And the article dives into the lessons and learnings of building an alumni network from the perspective of ESOs like us. Thanks for your time.